So we got this Godzilla 2024 here. That's the Monsterarts. We're gonna do some shit to it here. Head sculpt, honestly, you know, I think this is probably one of the best Monsterverse head sculpts they've done, but yeah, the molding on that, the paint quality, and just the fact that it can't look up very far, not that great. So we got one of those Whalezilla heads. I think it goes by Kujira Designs now. We're gonna paint one of those up, slap it on there, and then we're gonna do a few other things with him here, like his hands here. We're gonna have to repaint those because, I mean, look at those nails, man. They're two completely different colors, unbelievable. And then we have these nails down here. I don't know what they were thinking when they did these, but these do not look good. So we're gonna repaint them. Now, what we're also gonna do is we're gonna take a file and we're gonna kind of work on those and try to get a bit more of a point to them, get them to look a little less rounded and dull like they do here. Also give those a repaint, do a little repaint on the torso, and yeah, we'll see how that turns out. This is a little bit of the progress we have here. See, we got the eyes painted in there, and then we've also got the base skin tones on all of the 3D printed parts right there. They look a little dark if you compare them to the base figure, but they're the inside color without all the shading and dry brushing, and they're pretty close. So once we get all the shading and dry brushing and stuff to match that onto this, that should look pretty good. We've also gone in and just put a base color on the fingernails there. We'll go over them with a lighter color. And then I've also gone in on the nails here. The sharpening kind of worked, kind of didn't. They look a little bit less rounded, but yeah, I actually really like how those look just in the gray compared to the rest of the body of the figure, just because there's so much dry brushing on this figure. It kind of helps to break them up, so I might leave these as is. Not sure, but that's where that is. So here's where we're at with these things so far right here. We got the head mostly painted here. Try to recreate that green highlight that's on the normal version's head. You know, a little dark, but I think it'll work. We've also done a little bit of repaint work on this guy here, but we'll talk about that in a second. What we're on to now is the inside of the mouth. And I'm going to start with an orange wash right there on the gray base. I painted a few of these before, these custom heads from a bunch of people, Whalezilla, Godzilla 154, a lot of big players who do these types of parts, and I always like to paint the inside of the mouth, leaving the gray sort of unpainted and using that as a base while everything else gets base coated in the skin tone. It focuses just because I like having that sort of bright whitish gray base. You put the orange wash on there and it usually looks pretty sickly, but then you work darker into red, dark red, purple, and gloss it up, and it usually looks really good. Now that's usually my favorite part of painting these things. Yeah. So I always get past some of that stuff and pretty much done here. You know, the pieces all painted up, all varnished and everything. Face and everything, the eyes are all glossed up, the mouth, teeth, the pink on the head and everything. So really all that's left is just a paint. We've also done some extra highlights here and there just to accentuate muscle definition and stuff like that, but we'll look at all that once it's put together, won't we? So I was a little on the trigger happy side putting the head on here. It looks good, but you turn it around and yeah, I didn't wait properly for varnish coats to dry in there, and it peeled off and it's really ugly, and you close it and then you get more of that. Yeah, that's one thing I'm not too fond of with these 3D printed heads, putting the jaws in, but the hinges work great. But yeah, once you get it painted up, it can be a bit worrying getting those in, especially if you're impatient like me. Even on the back of his neck, I got a little thing I gotta touch up there, so yeah, we gotta do that still, but otherwise he's complete. Alright, so here he is all prettied up here. Yeah, we fixed up those little issues we had in putting the head together. You know, use quality paints, let your varnishes dry, and you probably won't have that problem. But yeah, there he is, Godzilla 2024. All his pink and green and whatever, something. There's the nails. I did end up putting a little bit of a brown dry brush on those, just to make them pop a little bit more and also fit in more with the fingernails there, which we have also redone, and now they're the same color, so we don't have to worry about those not matching anymore. Other things I did some black highlights around the legs in areas just to sort of accentuate the muscle definition. See, unfortunately mine was a little messed up. He has a green highlight on the back of his hip here, but the other side doesn't, so the black shading I added is a little more obvious back here. I don't really care about not having that highlight back there. I could have added that if I wanted to, but, you know, not too bothered. Mind the figure struggling to balance in the pose I put it in. We'll just let him lean. He can take a little break for a second while we show him off. Did some brown highlighting on the chest. Also some more black in his abs back there. Also did some black kind of along his back here because he had some really ugly sort of yellowy brown dry brushing that just didn't look any good, so covered some of that up. But yeah, we did some of that. And then along the neck, it looks, in some scenes in the movie, it looks kind of like he has this sort of grayish white going down there, but the only times you ever see that are when he comes out of the ice and when he's fighting Shimo, so I don't know if this is actually meant to be there or if it's just how the CGI model looked whenever they added the ice texture to it or whatever, but I put that on there just for a little bit of extra flavor on this little extra color pop on this bright, colorful peacock of a Godzilla. And then we have the face right there, the Kujira face sculpt there, which doesn't want to focus. There we are, yeah. Really nice. Really good. The original head sculpt, honestly, like I said, was fine. Probably their best legendary head sculpt that Monsterarts has done, but this is just so much better. And you can see the green highlight that I put up there a little bit better just because I like that on the original base head sculpt. And then the spines, a little pink on them, sort of pearlescent color. You can get these heads in clear pink if you want to do like an atomic breath version, or if you just want this one little spike up here to match the others and being transparent. I didn't go with the pink just because I thought the gray would be better for painting the inside of the mouth, but that's definitely an option. Yeah, what do you say we compare him to some things? And King Joe was there. So here he is for comparison with the 2019 Godzilla, just sort of the basic base model legendary Godzilla. Just, I don't know, compare the molds, compare the differences, and obviously the head sculpts. I never was too bothered by this head sculpt on the 2019 figure. I know they retooled it for 2021 and then 2024 and all the other releases that came after that, but this original one I really do like still, enough to not really worry about wanting to pick up the Haya, because this does everything I need it to. I will say, comparing these two figures, some parts of the articulation on the 2019 figure are better. Obviously you can see he's balancing with his tail off the ground. Way better. That's one thing I really love about this figure, is how good it balances with the tail off the ground. Meanwhile, you know, this guy's legs are a little loose. I'm sure you put a little joint tightener on there and that'll work out fine, but yeah, some articulation not as good on the 2024 figure, like the elbow right here. That's as far as that bends. Goes about 90 degrees. Maybe you can get a little more out of that if you twist it a little bit, but that's about what you're gonna get. Meanwhile, the older figure, like a champ, way past 90 degrees. I mean, just compare the difference in bend there. Kind of makes you wonder, why didn't they just retool this to fit on this? I mean, I know there's proportional differences in the arms, but at least use the same joint setup. The hips, too, don't move very far back on this guy. Meanwhile, this guy, you can see they move a lot further back, which helps a lot when balancing him with his tail off the ground. Another thing I know a lot of people like to complain about on the 2019 figure, this isn't about this figure, it's about this one, but just wanted to point this out. Everyone complains about the snake neck that this figure has, but I mean, I don't know, that's a pretty accurate legendary Godzilla posture right there. I feel like some people just don't know how to use articulation. And then here we have another comparison with one of the crown jewels of my legendary Godzilla figure collection, the Godzilla 2019 poster version. Took me years to find this thing, but I have it. I love it. Such a beautiful figure. And this is easily my favorite legendary Godzilla figure I have. One of my favorite Godzillas I have in general. And definitely one of my favorite Monsterarts figures. And King Joe was there. Yeah, just sort of comparing the transparency. I don't know, I just want to show this thing off because it looks so cool. And then I don't have any of the Monsterarts for Scar King or the 2024 King Kong or really anything else from this movie that's sort of on a similar, comparable sort of style of figure to the Monsterarts Godzilla, but I do have these two Playmates figures for Kong and Scar King. They came in that little set together. I thought that looked pretty fun. And then we also have that Monsterarts Mothra back there. I did a little repaint on the face on that. Yeah, I don't have anything really close to Shimo at the moment, so I don't know. Here's Killazee. So I gotta say, after doing all those little things with the head sculpt and touching up the paint on the body, I really do like this figure a lot. It's really done a lot to improve it for me. I mean, just compare those head sculpts. Really, it's a real night and day difference right there. So, yeah, we don't need this anymore. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. Probably throw it in the box and forget I ever had it. Just because this head sculpt here looks so nice. So good. I don't think it's my favorite legendary Godzilla figure I have, though. That's still probably going to go to the 2019 poster version. But, yeah, really nice figure once you put in a little bit of work. So, make of that what you will. And King Joe was there. It's also worth pointing out that I didn't do anything to repaint these hands because they fucking suck.